What you know, alibis? Welcome to another episode of Pretty Lies and Alibis. I'm Gigi. It's Friday, May 16th. We had a really short day in court. In fact, court adjourned around 12:20 for the day. So this episode is going to be very short. The Commonwealth starts out with a video of an interview Karen gave, and she's talking about when she found John in the snow. She says she saw a piece of glass perched on his nose. So she pulled it out, and as soon as she did, blood started gushing down his face. The first witness up for the day was Andre Porto, and he did DNA testing on the items in this case. I'm going to really just combine the direct and the cross because it was repetitive, and that way we can just hear what both sides said at one time. The root of the hair that was found on the back of the SUV had no usable DNA. The witness did send the shaft of the hair to a company called Bodie. I assume later on we may hear from that company about the results of the testing on that hair shaft. The fingernail clippings, the DNA only belonged to John. As far as the taillight, we know John was a contributor, and the defense asks about the other two contributors that were found. Those were unknown, and the witness said could be anybody. He was not asked to compare the unknown samples to Police Chief Berkowitz or Kevin Albert. He also cannot say when that DNA was deposited. As far as the broken drinking glass, John's DNA was on there as well as two unknowns. He was never asked to compare DNA to Brian Albert or Brian Higgins. For the blue jeans, on the upper right leg area of the jeans, there was John's profile and two unknowns. Another area of the upper right leg, John was a contributor as well as one unknown. Although the witness says there could have been more than two contributors. The witness said the unknowns could be anybody. On another stain, it was John and two unknowns. The upper right leg was John and an unknown contributor. He did test an unstained area of the jeans, which showed John as well as three other contributors. For the shoe, the right instep, there were at least five contributors. He can't compare to five or more because it's just not suitable. He couldn't even say if John's DNA was on it, and of course, can't say who the other contributors would be. The long sleeve shirt with the stain on the back, there were two contributors. The first being John and then an unknown. There was another stain on the shirt with the same result, John and an unknown. On a redirect, is it common or uncommon to have multiple contributors? The witness says it depends and it can happen. Up next was Ashley Vallier. She is with the Massachusetts State Crime Lab. She's a forensic scientist. Her job was to match the fragments from the taillight pieces found at 34 Fairview to that taillight housing. There was also debris present on there, and she packaged it. They go through all of the different labeled pieces of plastic, asking if it matched this other piece. For the sake of time and definitely to save us some confusion, in the end, her testimony was for some of those groups of plastic, she was able to piece some together, and some she was not able to. She looked at the debris from John's clothing and found five different items. Some of those were apparent fibers, plastic, and dirt. On cross, the witness was not aware there were three different contributors to that taillight. She was also not given the missing pieces of the taillight to complete her reconstruction. She was not told about pieces recovered from John's house, and she agrees there was no glass in the taillight. She classified them as plastic pieces. She does mention that the actual bulb itself is made of glass, but the defense points out these are typically very thin pieces. They talk about the chain of custody, and she said audits are performed to be sure evidence is where it should be. Of course, she can't say anything about the collection of the items or where they were before it's sent to her. Trooper Proctor was the one who submitted these items, and the defense points out John's clothing was seized on January 29th, but it wasn't entered into the lab until March 14th. He asked the witness if she knows how long Proctor was alone with the clothes in that time frame. There was an objection that was sustained. On redirect, they reiterated the 10 pieces she reconstructed did fit together. And that was pretty much it for today. Next week, Thursday, is a half day, and there is no court on Friday. So join us on Monday at 9 Eastern to watch testimony live. I'll be recapping the day's testimony in an hour or less every day. But that is it for today. I hope you guys have a good rest of your afternoon, and we will see you soon.